The Book of Jeremiah, Chapter 1. The words of Jeremiah the son of Hilkiah, of the priests who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, to the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah the son of Josiah, king of Judah, to the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Now the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the belly I knew you, and before you came forth out of the womb I sanctified you. I have appointed you a prophet to the nations. Then I said, Ah, Lord God, behold, I don't know how to speak, for I am a child. But the Lord said to me, Don't say I am a child. For to whoever I send you, you shall go, and whatever I shall command you, you shall speak. Don't be afraid because of them, for I am with you to deliver you, says the Lord. Then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and the Lord said to me, Behold, I have put my words in your mouth. Behold, I have this day set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to pluck up and to break down, and to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Jeremiah, what do you see? I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. Then the Lord said to me, You have seen well, for I watch over my word to perform it. The word of the Lord came to me the second time, saying, What do you see? I said, I see a boiling cauldron, and the face of it is from the north. Then the Lord said to me, Out of the north evil shall break forth on all the inhabitants of the land. For behold, I will call all the families of the kingdoms of the north, says the Lord, and they shall come, and they shall set every one his throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, and against all the walls of it round about, and against all the cities of Judah. I will utter my judgments against them, touching all their wickedness, in that they have forsaken me, and have burned incense to other gods, and worshipped the works of their own hands. You therefore gird up your loins and arise, and speak to them all that I command you. Don't be dismayed at them, lest I dismay you before them. For behold, I have made you this day a fortified city, and an iron pillar, and brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against the princes of it, against the priests of it, and against the people of the land. They shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, says the Lord, to deliver you. Chapter 2. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says the Lord, I remember for you the kindness of your youth, the love of your weddings, how you went after me in the wilderness in a land that was not sown. Israel was holiness to the Lord, the firstfruits of his increase. All who devour him shall be held guilty. Evil shall come on them, says the Lord. Hear you the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus says the Lord, What unrighteousness have your fathers found in me, that they have gone far from me, and have walked after vanity, and are become vain? Neither said they, Where is the Lord, who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, who led us through the wilderness, through a land of deserts and of pits, through a land of drought and of the shadow of death, through a land that none passed through, where no man lived? I brought you into a plentiful land, to eat the fruit of it and the goodness of it. But when you entered, you defiled my land, and made my heritage an abomination. The priests didn't say, Where is the Lord? And those who handle the law didn't know me. The rulers also transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal, and walked after things that do not profit. Therefore I will yet contend with you, says the Lord, and with your children's children will I contend. For pass over to the isles of Kittim, and see, and send to Kedar, and consider diligently, and see if there has been such a thing. Has a nation changed its gods, which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which does not profit. Be astonished, you heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be you very desolate, says the Lord. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the spring of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Is Israel a servant? Is he a home-born slave? Why is he then become a prey? The young lions have roared on him and yelled, and they have made his land waste. His cities are burned up without inhabitant. The children also of Memphis and Taphanes have broken the crown of your head. Haven't you procured this to yourself, and that you have forsaken the Lord your God when he led you by the way? Now what have you to do in the way of Egypt, to drink the waters of Shihor? Or what have you to do in the way of Assyria, to drink the waters of the river? Your own wickedness shall correct you, and your backsliding shall reprove you. Know therefore and see that it is an evil and bitter thing that you have forsaken the Lord your God, and that my fear is not in you, says the Lord of hosts. For of old time I have broken your yoke, and burst your bonds, and you said, I will not serve. For on every high hill and under every green tree you did bow yourself, playing the prostitute. Yet I had planted you a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then are you turned into the degenerate branches of a foreign vine to me? For though you wash yourself with lye and use much soap, yet your iniquity is marked before me, says the Lord God. How can you say, I am not defiled, I have not gone after the Baals? See your way in the valley? Know what you have done. You are a swift dromedary traversing her ways, a wild donkey used to the wilderness that sniffs up the wind in her desire. In her occasion who can turn her away? All those who seek her will not weary themselves. In her month they shall find her. Withhold your foot from being unshod, and your throat from thirst. But you said, It is in vain. No, for I have loved strangers, and after them I will go. As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, who tell a stock, You are my father, and say to a stone, You have brought me forth. For they have turned their back to me, and not their face. But in the time of their trouble they will say, Arise and save us. But where are your gods that you have made? Let them arise if they can save you in the time of your trouble, for according to the number of your cities are your gods, Judah. Why will you contend with me? You all have transgressed against me, says the Lord. In vain have I struck your children, they receive no correction. Your own sword has devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. O generation, see the word of the Lord. Have I been a wilderness to Israel, or a land of thick darkness? Why say my people, We are broken loose, we will come no more to you? Can a virgin forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me days without number. How trim you your way to seek love! Therefore even the wicked women have taught you their ways. Also in your skirts is found the blood of the souls of the innocent poor. You did not find them breaking in, but it is because of all these things. Yet you said, I am innocent, surely his anger is turned away from me. Behold, I will enter into judgment with you, because you say, I have not sinned. Why go about so much to change your way? You shall be ashamed of Egypt also, as you were ashamed of Assyria. From there also shall you go forth, with your hands on your head. For the Lord has rejected those in whom you trust, and you shall not prosper with them. Chapter 3. They say, If a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's wife, will he return to her again? Won't that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the prostitute with many lovers, yet return again to me, says the Lord. Lift up your eyes to the bare heights and see. Where have you not been lain with? By the ways have you sat for them, as an Arabian in the wilderness, and you have polluted the land with your prostitution and with your wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withheld, and there has been no latter rain. Yet you have a prostitute's forehead, you refuse to be ashamed. Will you not from this time cry to me, My Father, you are the guide of my youth? Will he retain his anger forever? Will he keep it to the end? Behold, you have spoken and have done evil things, and have had your way. Moreover, the Lord said to me in the days of Josiah the king, Have you seen that which backsliding Israel has done? She has gone up on every high mountain, and under every green tree, and there has played the prostitute. I said after she had done all these things, she will return to me, but she didn't return, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. I saw when, for this very cause that backsliding Israel had committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet treacherous Judah her sister didn't fear, but she also went and played the prostitute. It happened through the lightness of her prostitution that the land was polluted, and she committed adultery with stones and with stocks. Yet for all this her treacherous sister Judah has not returned to me with her whole heart, but only in pretense, says the Lord. The Lord said to me, Backsliding Israel has shown herself more righteous than treacherous Judah. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, you backsliding Israel, says the Lord. I will not look in anger on you, for I am merciful, says the Lord. I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge your iniquity, that you have transgressed against the Lord your God, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed my voice, says the Lord. Return, backsliding children, says the Lord, for I am a husband to you, and I will take you one of a city, and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. And I will give you shepherds according to my heart, who shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. It shall come to pass, when you are multiplied and increased in the land in those days, says the Lord, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they miss it, neither shall it be made any more. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall be gathered to it, to the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the stubbornness of their evil heart. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north, to the land that I gave for an inheritance to your fathers. But I said, How will I put you among the children, and give you a pleasant land, a good heritage of the host of the nations? And I said, You shall call me my father, and shall not turn away from following me. Surely as a wife treacherously departs from her husband, so have you dealt treacherously with me, house of Israel, says the Lord. A voice is heard on the bare heights, the weeping and petitions of the children of Israel, because they have perverted their way, they have forgotten the Lord their God. Return, you backsliding children, I will heal your backsliding. Behold, we are come to you, for you are the Lord our God. Truly in vain is the help that is looked for from the hills, the tumult on the mountains. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. But the shameful thing has devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth, their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters. Let us lie down in our shame, and let our confusion cover us, for we have sinned against the Lord our God, we and our fathers, from our youth even to this day, and we have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God. Chapter 4. If you will return, Israel, says the Lord, if you will return to me, and if you will put away your abominations out of my sight, then you shall not be removed, and you shall swear, as the Lord lives, in truth, in justice, and in righteousness, and the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. For thus says the Lord to the men of Judah and to Jerusalem, Break up your fallow ground, and don't sow among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord, and take away the foreskins of your heart, you men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my wrath go forth like fire, and burn so that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings. Declare you in Judah, and publish in Jerusalem, and say, Blow the trumpet in the land, cry aloud, and say, Assemble yourselves, and let us go into the fortified cities. Set up a standard toward Zion, flee for safety, don't stay, for I will bring evil from the north, and a great destruction. A lion is gone up from his thicket, and a destroyer of nations, he is on his way. He is gone forth from his place, to make your land desolate, that your cities be laid waste without inhabitant. For this gird you with sackcloth, lament and wail, for the fierce anger of the Lord hasn't turned back from us. It will happen at that day, says the Lord, that the heart of the king shall perish, and the heart of the princes, and the heart of the priest will be astonished, and the prophets shall wonder. Then I said, Ah, Lord God, surely you have greatly deceived this people in Jerusalem, saying, You shall have peace, whereas the sword reaches to the very life. At that time shall it be said to this people and to Jerusalem, A hot wind from the bare heights in the wilderness toward the daughter of my people, not to winnow, nor to cleanse. A full wind from thee shall come for me. Now I will also utter judgments against them. Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as the whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, for we are ruined. Jerusalem, wash your heart from wickedness, that you may be saved. How long shall your evil thoughts lodge within you? For a voice declares from Dan, and publishes evil from the hills of Ephraim. Make you mention to the nations, Behold, publish against Jerusalem, that watchers come from a far country, and give out their voice against the cities of Judah. As keepers of a field are they against her round about, because she has been rebellious against me, says the Lord. Your way and your doings have brought these things to you. This is your wickedness, for it is bitter, for it reaches to your heart. My anguish, I am pained at my very heart. My heart is disquieted in me. I can't hold my peace, because you have heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. Destruction on destruction is cried, for the whole land is laid waste. Suddenly are my tents destroyed, and my curtains in a moment. How long shall I stand and hear the sound of the trumpet? For my people are foolish, they don't know me. They are foolish children, and they have no understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. I saw the earth, and behold, it was waste and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I saw the mountains, and behold, they trembled, and all the hills moved back and forth. I saw, and behold, there was no man, and all the birds of the sky were fled. I saw, and behold, the fruitful field was a wilderness, and all the cities of it were broken down at the presence of the Lord, and before his fierce anger. For thus says the Lord, The whole land shall be a desolation, yet will I not make a full end. For this shall the earth mourn, and the heavens above be black, because I have spoken it. I have purposed it, and I have not repented, neither will I turn back from it. Every city flees for the noise of the horsemen and archers. They go into the thickets, and climb up on the rocks. Every city is forsaken, and not a man dwells therein. You, when you are made desolate, what will you do? Though you clothe yourself with scarlet, though you deck yourself with ornaments of gold, though you enlarge your eyes with paint, in vain do you make yourself beautiful. Your lovers despise you, they seek your life. For I have heard a voice as of a woman in travail, the anguish as of her who brings forth her first child, the voice of the daughter of Zion, who gasps for breath, who spreads her hands, saying, Woe is me now, for my soul faints before the murderers. Chapter 5. Run back and forth through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now and know, and seek in the broad places of it, if you can find a man, if there are any who does justly, who seeks truth, and I will pardon her. Though they say, As the Lord lives, surely they swear falsely. O Lord, don't your eyes look on truth? You have stricken them, but they were not grieved. You have consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. Then I said, Surely these are poor, they are foolish, for they don't know the way of the Lord, nor the law of their God. I will call to me the great men, and will speak to them, for they know the way of the Lord, and the law of their God. But these with one accord have broken the yoke, and burst the bonds. Therefore a lion out of the forest shall kill them. A wolf of the evening shall destroy them. A leopard shall watch against their cities. Everyone who goes out there shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backsliding is increased. How can I pardon you? Your children have forsaken me, and sworn by them that are no gods. When I had fed them to the full, they committed adultery, and assembled themselves in troops at the prostitutes' houses. They were as fed horses roaming at large. Every one neighed after his neighbor's wife. Shall I not visit for these things, says the Lord? And shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? Go up on her walls and destroy, but don't make a full end. Take away her branches, for they are not the Lord's. For the house of Israel and the house of Judah have dealt very treacherously against me, says the Lord. They have denied the Lord, and said, It is not he, neither shall evil come on us, neither shall we see sword nor famine. And the prophets shall become wind, and the word is not in them. Thus shall it be done to them. Therefore thus says the Lord, the God of hosts, because you speak this word, behold, I will make my words in your mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. Behold, I will bring a nation on you from afar, house of Israel, says the Lord. It is a mighty nation, it is an ancient nation, a nation whose language you don't know, neither understand what they say. Their quiver is an open tomb, they are all mighty men. They shall eat up your harvest, and your bread which your sons and your daughters should eat. They shall eat up your flocks and your herds. They shall eat up your vines and your fig trees. They shall beat down your fortified cities in which you trust with the sword. But even in those days, says the Lord, I will not make a full end with you. It shall happen, when you shall say, Why has the Lord our God done all these things to us? Then shall you say to them, Like as you have forsaken me, and serve foreign gods in your land, so shall you serve strangers in a land that is not yours. Declare this in the house of Jacob, and publish it in Judah, saying, Hear this, foolish people, and without understanding, who have eyes and don't see, who have ears and don't hear. Don't you fear me, says the Lord? Won't you tremble at my presence, who have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree that it can't pass it? And though the waves of it toss themselves, yet they can't prevail. Though they roar, yet they can't pass over it. But this people has a revolting and a rebellious heart. They are revolted and gone. Neither do they say in their heart, Let us now fear the Lord our God, who gives rain, both the former and the latter in its season, who preserves to us the appointed weeks of the harvest. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withheld good from you. For among my people are found wicked men. They watch, as fowlers lie in wait. They set a trap, they catch men. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore they are become great, and grow rich. They are grown fat, they shine, yes, they overpass in deeds of wickedness. They don't plead the cause of the fatherless, that they may prosper, and the right of the needy they don't judge. Shall I not visit for these things, says the Lord? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? A wonderful and a horrible thing is happening in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means, and my people love to have it so. And what will you do in the end of it? Chapter 6. Flee for safety, you children of Benjamin, out of the midst of Jerusalem, and blow the trumpet in Tekoa, and raise up a signal on Beth Hacherim, for evil looks forth from the north, and a great destruction. The comely and delicate one, the daughter of Zion, I will cut off. Shepherds with their flocks shall come to her. They shall pitch their tents against her round about. They shall feed every one in his place. Prepare war against her. Arise, and let us go up at noon. Woe to us, for the day declines, for the shadows of the evening are stretched out. Arise, and let us go up by night, and let us destroy her palaces. For thus has the Lord of hosts said, Hew you down trees, and cast up a mound against Jerusalem. This is the city to be visited. She is wholly oppressed in the midst of her. As a well casts forth its water, so she casts forth her wickedness. Violence and destruction is heard in her. Before me continually is sickness and wounds. Be instructed, Jerusalem, lest my soul be alienated from you, lest I make you a desolation, a land not inhabited. Thus says the Lord of hosts, They shall thoroughly glean the remnant of Israel as a vine. Turn your hand again as a grape-gatherer into the baskets. To whom shall I speak, and testify that they may hear? Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they can't listen. Behold, the word of the Lord is become to them a reproach. They have no delight in it. Therefore I am full of the wrath of the Lord. I am weary with holding in. Pour it out on the children in the street, and on the assembly of young men together. For even the husband with the wife shall be taken, the aged with him who is full of days. Their houses shall be turned to others, their fields and their wives together. For I will stretch out my hand on the inhabitants of the land, says the Lord. For from the least of them, even to the greatest of them, every one is given to covetousness, and from the prophet even to the priest, every one deals falsely. They have healed also the hurt of my people slightly, saying, Peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? No, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among those who fall. At the time that I visit them they shall be cast down, says the Lord. Thus says the Lord, Stand in the way and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, We will not walk therein. I set watchmen over you, saying, Listen to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, We will not listen. Therefore hear, you nations, and know, congregation, what is among them. Hear, earth. Behold, I will bring evil on this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not listened to my words, and as for my law, they have rejected it. To what purpose comes there to me frankincense from Sheba, and the sweet cane from a far country? Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices pleasing to me. Therefore thus says the Lord, Behold, I will lay stumbling blocks before this people, and the fathers and the sons together shall stumble against them. The neighbor and his friend shall perish. Thus says the Lord, Behold, a people comes from the north country, and a great nation shall be stirred up from the uttermost parts of the earth. They lay hold on bow and spear. They are cruel and have no mercy. Their voice roars like the sea, and they ride on horses. Every one is set in array, as a man to the battle against you, daughter of Zion. We have heard the report of it. Our hands wax feeble. Anguish has taken hold of us, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Don't go forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy and terror are on every side. Daughter of my people, gird you with sackcloth, and wallow yourself in ashes. Make mourning, as for an only son, most bitter lamentation, for the destroyer shall suddenly come on us. I have made you a tester of metals and a fortress among my people, that you may know and try their way. They are all grievous rebels, going about with slanders. They are brass and iron. They, all of them, deal corruptly. The bellows blow fiercely. The lead is consumed of the fire. In vain do they go on refining, for the wicked are not plucked away. Refuse silver shall men call them, because the Lord has rejected them. Chapter 7. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Stand in the gate of the Lord's house, and proclaim there this word, and say, Hear the word of the Lord, all you of Judah, who enter in at these gates to worship the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Don't you trust in lying words, saying, The temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord are these. For if you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute justice between a man and his neighbor, if you don't oppress the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, and don't shed innocent blood in this place, neither walk after other gods to your own hurt, then I will cause you to dwell in this place, in the land that I gave to your fathers, from of old, even forevermore. Behold, you trust in lying words that can't profit. Will you steal, murder, and commit adultery, swear falsely and burn incense to Baal, and walk after other gods that you haven't known, and then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, We are delivered? that you may continue to do all these abominations? Is this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, I, even I, have seen it, says the Lord. But go now to my place which was in Shiloh, where I caused my name to dwell at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people Israel. Now, because you have done all these works, says the Lord, and I spoke to you, rising up early and speaking, but you didn't hear, and I called you, but you didn't answer. Therefore I will do to the house which is called by my name, in which you trust, and to the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I did to Shiloh. I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brothers, even the whole seed of Ephraim. Therefore don't you pray for this people, neither lift up a cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear you. Don't you see what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead the dough, to make cakes to the queen of the sky, and to pour out drink offerings to other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, says the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore, thus says the Lord God, Behold, my anger and my wrath shall be poured out on this place, on man and on animal, and on the trees of the field, and on the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Add your burnt offerings to your sacrifices, and eat flesh. For I didn't speak to your fathers, nor command them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. But this thing I commanded them, saying, Listen to my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. And walk in all the way that I command you, that it may be well with you. But they didn't listen, nor turn their ear, but walked in their own counsels, and in the stubbornness of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt to this day, I have sent to you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them. Yet they didn't listen to me, nor inclined their ear, but made their necks stiff. They did worse than their fathers. You shall speak all these words to them, but they will not listen to you. You shall also call to them, but they will not answer you. You shall tell them, This is the nation that has not listened to the voice of the Lord their God, nor received instruction. Truth is perished, and is cut off from their mouth. Cut off your hair, Jerusalem, and cast it away, and take up a lamentation on the bare heights, for the Lord has rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. For the children of Judah have done that which is evil in my sight, says the Lord. They have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name, to defile it. They have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I didn't command, neither came it into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that it shall no more be called Topheth, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter, for they shall bury in Topheth until there be no place to bury. The dead bodies of this people shall be food for the birds of the sky, and for the animals of the earth, and none shall frighten them away. Then I will cause to cease from the cities of Judah, and from the streets of Jerusalem, the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, for the land shall become a waste. Chapter 8. At that time, says the Lord, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun, and the moon, and all the hosts of the sky which they have loved, and which they have served, and after which they have walked, and which they have sought, and which they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, nor buried. They shall be for dung on the surface of the earth. Death shall be chosen rather than life, by all the residue that remain of this evil family, that remain in all the places where I have driven them, says the Lord of hosts. Moreover, you shall tell them, Thus says the Lord, Shall men fall and not rise up again? Shall one turn away and not return? Why then is this people of Jerusalem slidden back by a perpetual backsliding? They hold fast to deceit. They refuse to return. I listened and heard, but they didn't speak aright. No man repents him of his wickedness, saying, What have I done? Everyone turns to his course, as a horse that rushes headlong in the battle. Yes, the stork in the sky knows her appointed times, and the turtle-dove and the swallow and the crane observe the time of their coming. But my people don't know the Lord's law. How do you say, We are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? But behold, the false pen of the scribes has worked falsely. The wise men are disappointed. They are dismayed and taken. Behold, they have rejected the word of the Lord, and what manner of wisdom is in them? Therefore I will give their wives to others, and their fields to those who shall possess them. For everyone from the least even to the greatest is given to covetousness. From the prophet even to the priest, every one deals falsely. They have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, Peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? No, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore shall they fall among those who fall. In the time of their visitation they shall be cast down, says the Lord. I will utterly consume them, says the Lord. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the tree, and the leaves shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them. Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves, and let us enter into the fortified cities, and let us be silent there. For the Lord our God has put us to silence, and given us water of gall to drink, because we have sinned against the Lord. We looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of healing, and behold dismay. The snorting of his horses is heard from Dan. At the sound of the neighing of his strong ones, the whole land trembles, for they are come, and have devoured the land, and all that is in it, the city and those who dwell therein. For behold, I will send serpents, adders among you, which will not be charmed, and they shall bite you, says the Lord. Oh, that I could comfort myself against sorrow! My heart is faint within me. Behold the voice of the cry of the daughter of my people from a land that is very far off. Isn't the Lord in Zion? Isn't her King in her? Why have they provoked me to anger with their engraved images, and with foreign vanities? The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt. I mourn, dismay has taken hold on me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then isn't the health of the daughter of my people recovered? Chapter 9. Oh, that my head were waters, and my eyes a spring of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them. For they are all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. They bend their tongue as it were their bow, for falsehood, and they are grown strong in the land, but not for truth. For they proceed from evil to evil, and they don't know me, says the Lord. Take heed every one of his neighbor, and don't trust in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will go about with slanders. They will deceive everyone his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies. They weary themselves to commit iniquity. Your habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, says the Lord. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will melt them, and try them. For how else should I do because of the daughter of my people? Their tongue is a deadly arrow, it speaks deceit. One speaks peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in his heart he lays wait for him. Shall I not visit them for these things, says the Lord? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? For the mountains I will take up a weeping and a wailing, and for the pastures of the wilderness a lamentation, because they are burned up, so that none passes through, neither can men hear the voice of the cattle. Both the birds of the sky and the animals are fled, they are gone. I will make Jerusalem heaps, a dwelling place of jackals, and I will make the cities of Judah a desolation, without inhabitant. Who is the wise man that may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord is spoken, that he may declare it? Why is the land perished and burned up like a wilderness, so that none passes through? The Lord says, Because they have forsaken my law which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the stubbornness of their own heart, and after the Baals, which their fathers taught them. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the nations, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. Thus says the Lord of hosts, Consider and call for the mourning women, that they may come, and send for the skillful women, that they may come, and let them make haste, and take up a wailing for us, that our eyes may run down with tears, and our eyelids gush out with waters. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How are we ruined? We are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because they have cast down our dwellings. Yet hear the word of the Lord, you women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth, and teach your daughters wailing, and every one her neighbor lamentation. For death is come up into our windows, it is entered into our palaces, to cut off the children from outside, and the young men from the streets. Speak, thus says the Lord, the dead bodies of men shall fall as dung on the open field, and as the handful after the harvester, and none shall gather them. Thus says the Lord, Don't let the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Don't let the rich man glory in his riches, but let him who glories glory in this, that he has understanding and knows me, that I am the Lord, who exercises loving kindness, justice, and righteousness in the earth, for in these things I delight, says the Lord. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will punish all those who are circumcised in their uncircumcision, Egypt and Judah and Edom, and the children of Ammon and Moab, and all that have the corners of their hair cut off, who dwell in the wilderness. For all the nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in heart. Chapter 10. Hear the word which the Lord speaks to you, house of Israel. Thus says the Lord, Don't learn the way of the nations, and don't be dismayed at the signs of the sky, for the nations are dismayed at them. For the customs of the peoples are vanity. For one cuts a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it not move. They are like a palm tree, of turned work and don't speak. They must be carried because they can't go. Don't be afraid of them, for they can't do evil, neither is it in them to do good. There is none like you, O Lord, for you are great, and your name is great in might. Who should not fear you, King of the nations? For to you does it belong. Because among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their royal estate, there is none like you. But they are together brutish and foolish, the instruction of idols. It is but a stock. There is silver beaten into plates, which is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the artificer, and of the hands of the goldsmith, blue and purple for their clothing. They are all the work of skillful men. But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God, and an everlasting King. At his wrath the earth trembles, and the nations are not able to abide his indignation. Thus shall you say to them, The gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, these shall perish from the earth, and from under the heavens. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding has he stretched out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is a tumult of waters in the heavens, and he causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings for the rain. Every man is become brutish, and is without knowledge. Every goldsmith is disappointed by his engraved image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, a work of delusion, In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Gather up your wares out of the land, you who abide in the siege. For thus says the Lord, Behold, I will sling out the inhabitants of the land at this time, and will distress them that they may feel it. Woe is me because of my hurt. My wound is grievous, but I said, Truly this is my grief, and I must bear it. My tent is destroyed, and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth from me, and they are no more. There is none to spread my tent any more, and to set up my curtains. For the shepherds are become brutish, and have not inquired of the Lord. Therefore they have not prospered, and all their flocks are scattered. The voice of news, behold, it comes, and a great commotion out of the north country, to make the cities of Judah a desolation, a dwelling place of jackals. O Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man who walks to direct his own steps. O Lord, correct me, but in measure, not in your anger, lest you bring me to nothing. Pour out your wrath on the nations that don't know you, and on the families that don't call on your name, for they have devoured Jacob, yes, they have devoured him, and consumed him, and have laid waste his habitation. Chapter 11. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Hear the words of this covenant, and speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and say to them, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Cursed be the man who doesn't hear the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the iron furnace, saying, Obey my voice and do them, according to all which I command you. So shall you be my people, and I will be your God, that I may establish the oath which I swore to your fathers, to give them a land flowing with milk and honey, as at this day. Then I answered and said, Amen, Lord. The Lord said to me, Proclaim all these words in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying, Hear you the words of this covenant, and do them. For I earnestly protested to your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt, even to this day, rising early and protesting, saying, Obey my voice. Yet they didn't obey, nor turn their ear, but walked every one in the stubbornness of their evil heart. Therefore I brought on them all the words of this covenant, which I commanded them to do, but they didn't do them. The Lord said to me, A conspiracy is found among the men of Judah, and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, who refused to hear my words, and they are gone after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant which I made with their fathers. Therefore thus says the Lord, Behold, I will bring evil on them, which they shall not be able to escape, and they shall cry to me, but I will not listen to them. Then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry to the gods to which they offer incense, but they will not save them at all in the time of their trouble. For according to the number of your cities are your gods, Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem have you set up altars to the shameful thing, even altars to burn incense to Baal. Therefore, don't pray for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry to me because of their trouble. What has my beloved to do in my house, seeing she has worked lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from you? When you do evil, then you rejoice. The Lord called your name a green olive tree, beautiful with good fruit. With the noise of the great tumult he has kindled fire on it, and the branches of it are broken. For the Lord of hosts, who planted you, has pronounced evil against you because of the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, which they have worked for themselves in provoking me to anger by offering incense to Baal. The Lord gave me knowledge of it, and I knew it. Then you showed me their doings. But I was like a gentle lamb that is led to the slaughter, and I didn't know that they had devised devices against me, saying, Let us destroy the tree with the fruit of it, and let us cut him off from the land of the living, that his name may be no more remembered. But the Lord of hosts, who judges righteously, who tries the heart and the mind, I shall see your vengeance on them, for to you I have revealed my cause. Therefore thus says the Lord concerning the men of Anathoth, who seek your life, saying, You shall not prophesy in the name of the Lord, that you not die by our hand. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will punish them. The young men shall die by the sword, their sons and their daughters shall die by famine, and there shall be no remnant to them, for I will bring evil on the men of Anathoth, even the year of their visitation. Chapter 12. Righteous are you, Lord, when I contend with you. Yet I would reason the cause with you. Why does the way of the wicked prosper? Why are all they at ease who deal very treacherously? You have planted them, yes, they have taken root. They grow, yes, they bring forth fruit. You are near in their mouth and far from their heart. But you, Lord, know me. You see me, and try my heart toward you. Pull them out like sheep for the slaughter, and prepare them for the day of slaughter. How long shall the land mourn, and the herbs of the whole country wither? For the wickedness of those who dwell therein, the animals are consumed, and the birds, because they said, He shall not see our latter end. If you have run with the footmen, and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with horses? And though in a land of peace you are secure, yet how will you do in the pride of the Jordan? For even your brothers, and the house of your father, even they have dealt treacherously with you. Even they have cried aloud after you. Don't believe them, though they speak beautiful words to you. I have forsaken my house. I have cast off my heritage. I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. My heritage is become to me as a lion in the forest. She has uttered her voice against me, therefore I have hated her. Is my heritage to me as a speckled bird of prey? Are the birds of prey against her round about? Go, assemble all the animals of the field, bring them to devour. Many shepherds have destroyed my vineyard. They have trodden my portion under foot. They have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness. They have made it a desolation. It mourns to me, being desolate. The whole land is made desolate, because no man lays it to heart. Destroyers are come on all the bare heights in the wilderness, for the sword of the Lord devours from the one end of the land, even to the other end of the land. No flesh has peace. They have sown wheat, and have reaped thorns. They have put themselves to pain, and profit nothing, and you shall be ashamed of your fruits, because of the fierce anger of the Lord. Thus says the Lord against all my evil neighbors, who touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them up from off their land, and will pluck up the house of Judah from among them. It shall happen, after I have plucked them up, I will return and have compassion on them, and I will bring them again, every man to his heritage, and every man to his land. It shall happen, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, as the Lord lives, even as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then shall they be built up in the midst of my people. But if they will not hear, then I will pluck up that nation, plucking up and destroying it, says the Lord. Chapter 13. Thus says the Lord to me, Go and buy you a linen belt, and put it on your loins, and don't put it in water. So I bought a belt according to the word of the Lord, and put it on my loins. The word of the Lord came to me the second time, saying, Take the belt that you have bought, which is on your loins, and arise, go to the Euphrates, and hide it there in a cleft of the rock. So I went, and hid it by the Euphrates, as the Lord commanded me. It happened after many days, the Lord said to me, Arise, go to the Euphrates, and take the belt from there which I commanded you to hide there. Then I went to the Euphrates and dug, and took the belt from the place where I had hid it, and behold, the belt was marred, it was profitable for nothing. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Thus says the Lord, After this manner will I mar the pride of Judah, and the great pride of Jerusalem. This evil people, who refuse to hear my words,
who walk in the stubbornness of their heart, and are gone after other gods to serve them and to worship them, shall even be as this belt, which is profitable for nothing. For as the belt cleaves to the loins of a man, so have I caused to cleave to me the whole house of Israel, and the whole house of Judah, says the Lord, that they may be to me for a people, and for a name, and for a praise, and for a glory, but they would not hear. Therefore you shall speak to them this word, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Every bottle shall be filled with wine. And they shall tell you, Do we not certainly know that every bottle shall be filled with wine? Then you shall tell them, Thus says the Lord, Behold, I will fill all the inhabitants of this land, even the kings who sit on David's throne, and the priests, and the prophets, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with drunkenness. I will dash them one against another, even the fathers and the sons together, says the Lord. I will not pity, nor spare, nor have compassion, that I should not destroy them. Hear you and give ear. Don't be proud, for the Lord has spoken. Give glory to the Lord your God, before he causes darkness, and before your feet stumble on the dark mountains. And while you look for light, he turn it into the shadow of death, and make it gross darkness. But if you will not hear it, my soul shall weep in secret for your pride, and my eyes shall weep sore and run down with tears, because the Lord's flock is taken captive. Say to the king and to the queen mother, Humble yourselves, sit down, for your headdresses are come down, even the crown of your glory. The cities of the south are shut up, and there is none to open them. Judah is carried away captive, all of it. It is wholly carried away captive. Lift up your eyes and see those who come from the north. Where is the flock that was given you, your beautiful flock? What will you say when he shall set over you as head those whom you yourself taught to be friends to you? Shall not sorrows take hold of you, as of a woman in travail? If you say in your heart, Why are these things come on me? For the greatness of your iniquity are your skirts uncovered, and your heels suffer violence. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may you also do good who are accustomed to do evil. Therefore I will scatter them as the stubble that passes away by the wind of the wilderness. This is your lot, the portion measured to you from me, says the Lord, because you have forgotten me and trusted in falsehood. Therefore I will also uncover your skirts on your face, and your shame shall appear. I have seen your abominations, even your adulteries and your neighing, the lewdness of your prostitution on the hills and the field. Woe to you, Jerusalem! You will not be made clean. How long shall it yet be?
Chapter 14. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah concerning the drought. Judah mourns, and the gates of it languish. They sit in black on the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Their nobles send their little ones to the waters. They come to the cisterns and find no water. They return with their vessels empty. They are disappointed and confounded, and cover their heads. Because of the ground which is cracked, because no rain has been in the land, the plowmen are disappointed. They cover their heads. Yes, the hind also in the field calves, and forsakes her young, because there is no grass. The wild donkeys stand on the bare heights. They pant for air like jackals. Their eyes fail, because there is no food. Though our iniquities testify against us, work for your name's sake, Lord, for our backslidings are many. We have sinned against you. You, O hope of Israel, the Savior of it in time of trouble, why should you be as a foreigner in the land, and as a wayfaring man who turns aside to stay for a night? Why should you be like a scared man, as a mighty man who can't save? Yet you, Lord, are in the midst of us, and we are called by your name. Don't leave us. Thus says the Lord to his people, Even have they loved to wander. They have not refrained their feet. Therefore the Lord does not accept them. Now he will remember their iniquity and visit their sins. The Lord said to me, Don't pray for this people for their good. When they fast, I will not hear their cry. And when they offer burnt offering and meal offering, I will not accept them. But I will consume them by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence. Then I said, O Lord God, behold, the prophets tell them, You shall not see the sword, neither shall you have famine, but I will give you assured peace in this place. Then the Lord said to me, The prophets prophesy lies in my name. I didn't send them, neither have I commanded them, neither spoke to them. They prophesy to you a lying vision, and divination, and a thing of nothing, and the deceit of their own heart. Therefore thus says the Lord concerning the prophets who prophesy in my name, and I didn't send them, yet they say, Sword and famine shall not be in this land. By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. The people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them, their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters, for I will pour their wickedness on them. You shall say this word to them, Let my eyes run down with tears night and day, and let them not cease. For the virgin daughter of my people is broken with a great breach, with a very grievous wound. If I go forth into the field, then behold the slain with the sword. And if I enter into the city, then behold those who are sick with famine. For both the prophet and the priest go about in the land, and have no knowledge. Have you utterly rejected Judah? Has your soul loathed Zion? Why have you struck us, and there is no healing? We looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of healing, and behold dismay. We acknowledge, Lord, our wickedness, and the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against you. Do not abhor us, for your name's sake. Do not disgrace the throne of your glory. Remember, don't break your covenant with us. Are there any among the vanities of the nations that can cause rain, or can the sky give showers? Aren't you he, O Lord our God? Therefore we will wait for you have made all these things. Chapter 15. Then the Lord said to me, Though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind would not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. It shall happen when they tell you, Where shall we go forth? Then you shall tell them, Thus says the Lord, Such as for death, to death, and such as are for the sword, to the sword, and such as are for the famine, to the famine, and such as are for captivity, to captivity. I will appoint over them 4 kinds, says the Lord, the sword to kill, and the dogs to tear, and the birds of the sky and the animals of the earth to devour and to destroy. I will cause them to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth, because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that which he did in Jerusalem. For who will have pity on you, Jerusalem, or who will bemoan you, or who will turn aside to ask of your welfare? You have rejected me, says the Lord. You are gone backward. Therefore I have stretched out my hand against you and destroyed you. I am weary with repenting. I have winnowed them with a fan in the gates of the land. I have bereaved them of children. I have destroyed my people. They didn't return from their ways. Their widows are increased to me above the sand of the seas. I have brought on them against the mother of the young men a destroyer at noonday. I have caused anguish and terrors to fall on her suddenly. She who has borne 7 languishes. She has given up the spirit. Her sun is gone down while it was yet day. She has been disappointed and confounded. And the residue of them I will deliver to the sword before their enemies, says the Lord. Woe is me, my mother, that you have borne me, a man of strife and a man of contention to the whole earth. I have not lent, neither have men lent to me, yet every one of them does curse me. The Lord said, Most assuredly I will strengthen you for good. Most assuredly I will cause the enemy to make supplication to you in the time of evil and in the time of affliction. Can one break iron? even iron from the north, and brass? Your substance and your treasures I will give for a spoil without price, and that for all your sins, even in all your borders. I will make them to pass with your enemies into a land which you don't know, for a fire is kindled in my anger, which shall burn on you. O Lord, you know, remember me, and visit me, and avenge me of my persecutors. Don't take me away in your long suffering. Know that for your sake I have suffered reproach. Your words were found, and I ate them, and your words were to me a joy, and the rejoicing of my heart, for I am called by your name, O Lord God of hosts. I didn't sit in the assembly of those who make merry, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of your hand, for you have filled me with indignation. Why is my pain perpetual, and my wound incurable, which refuses to be healed? Will you indeed be to me as a deceitful brook, as waters that fail? Therefore thus says the Lord, if you return, then I will bring you again, that you may stand before me. And if you take forth the precious from the vile, you shall be as my mouth. They shall return to you, but you shall not return to them. I will make you to this people a fortified brazen wall, and they shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you to save you and to deliver you, says the Lord. I will deliver you out of the hand of the wicked, and I will redeem you out of the hand of the terrible. Chapter 16. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, You shall not take a wife, neither shall you have sons or daughters in this place. For thus says the Lord concerning the sons, and concerning the daughters who are born in this place, and concerning their mothers who bore them, and concerning their fathers who became the father of them in this land. They shall die grievous deaths, they shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried. They shall be as dung on the surface of the ground, and they shall be consumed by the sword, and by famine, and their dead bodies shall be food for the birds of the sky, and for the animals of the earth. For thus says the Lord, Don't enter into the house of mourning, neither go to lament, neither bemoan them, for I have taken away my peace from this people, says the Lord, even loving kindness and tender mercies. Both great and small shall die in this land. They shall not be buried, neither shall men lament for them, nor cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them. Neither shall men break bread for them in mourning, to comfort them for the dead. Neither shall men give them the cup of consolation to drink for their father, or for their mother. You shall not go into the house of feasting to sit with them, to eat and to drink. For thus says the Lord God of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will cause to cease out of this place, before your eyes and in your days, the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. It shall happen, when you shall show this people all these words, and they shall tell you, Why has the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us? Or, What is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our God? Then you shall tell them, Because your fathers have forsaken me, says the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. And you have done evil more than your fathers, for behold, you walk every one after the stubbornness of his evil heart, so that you don't listen to me. Therefore I will cast you forth out of this land, into the land that you have not known, neither you nor your fathers, and there you shall serve other gods day and night, for I will show you no favor. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that it shall no more be said, As the Lord lives, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but, As the Lord lives, who brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the countries where he had driven them. I will bring them again into their land that I gave to their fathers. Behold, I will send for many fishermen, says the Lord, and they shall fish them up. And afterward I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, and from every hill, and out of the clefts of the rocks. For my eyes are on all their ways, They are not hidden from my face, neither is their iniquity concealed from my eyes. First I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have polluted my land with the carcasses of their detestable things, and have filled my inheritance with their abominations. O Lord, my strength and my stronghold, and my refuge in the day of affliction, to you shall the nations come from the ends of the earth, and they shall say, Our fathers have inherited nothing but lies, even vanity and things in which there is no profit. Shall a man make to himself gods which are yet no gods? Therefore, behold, I will cause them to know. This once I will cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is the Lord. Chapter 17. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron, and with the point of a diamond. It is engraved on the tablet of their heart, and on the horns of your altars. While their children remember their altars and their Asherim by the green trees on the high hills. My mountain in the field, I will give your substance and all your treasures for a spoil, and your high places, because of sin throughout all your borders. You even of yourself shall discontinue from your heritage that I gave you, and I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land which you don't know, for you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Thus says the Lord, Cursed is the man who trusts in man, and makes flesh his arm, and whose heart departs from the Lord. For he shall be like the bush in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places and the wilderness, a salt land, and not inhabited. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, and whose confidence is in God. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, who spreads out its roots by the river, and does not fear when heat comes, but its leaf shall be green, and does not worry in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things, and it is exceedingly corrupt. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the mind, I try the heart, even to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. As the partridge that sits on eggs which she has not laid, so is he who gets riches, and not by right. In the midst of his days they shall leave him, and at his end he shall be a fool. A glorious throne set on high from the beginning is the place of our sanctuary. O Lord, the hope of Israel, all who forsake you shall be disappointed. Those who depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the spring of living waters. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for you are my praise. Behold, they tell me, Where is the word of the Lord? Let it come now. As for me, I have not hurried from being a shepherd after you, neither have I desired the woeful day. You know, that which came out of my lips was before your face. Don't be a terror to me. You are my refuge in the day of evil. Let them be disappointed who persecute me, but don't let me be disappointed. Let them be dismayed, but don't let me be dismayed. Bring on them the day of evil, and destroy them with double destruction. Thus said the Lord to me, Go and stand in the gate of the children of the people, through which the kings of Judah come in, and by which they go out, and in all the gates of Jerusalem, and tell them, Hear you the word of the Lord, you kings of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem that enter in by these gates. Thus says the Lord, Take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem, neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do any work, but make the Sabbath day holy, as I commanded your fathers. But they didn't listen, neither turned their ear, but made their necks stiff, that they might not hear, and might not receive instruction. It shall happen, if you diligently listen to me, says the Lord, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but to make the Sabbath holy, to do no work therein, Then shall there enter in by the gates of this city kings and princes, sitting on the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, they and their princes, the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever. They shall come from the cities of Judah, and from the places round about Jerusalem, and from the land of Benjamin, and from the lowland, and from the hill country, and from the south, bringing burnt offerings and sacrifices, and meal offerings and frankincense, and bringing sacrifices of thanksgiving to the house of the Lord. But if you will not listen to me to make the Sabbath day holy, and not to bear a burden, and enter in at the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then I will kindle a fire in the gates of it, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched. Chapter 18. The word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause you to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he was making a work on the wheels. When the vessel that he made of the clay was marred in the hand of the potter, he made it again another vessel, as seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, House of Israel, can't I do with you as this potter, says the Lord? Behold, as the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, house of Israel. When I shall speak concerning a nation, and concerning a kingdom, to pluck up and to break down and to destroy it, if that nation concerning which I have spoken turns from their evil, I will repent of the evil that I thought to do to them. Then I shall speak concerning a nation, and concerning a kingdom, to build and to plant it. If they do that which is evil in my sight, that they not obey my voice, then I will repent of the good with which I said I would benefit them. Now therefore speak to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says the Lord, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Turn you now every one from his evil way, and amend your ways and your doings. But they say, It is in vain, for we will walk after our own devices, and we will do every one after the stubbornness of his evil heart. Therefore thus says the Lord, Ask now among the nations, who has heard such things? The Virgin of Israel has done a very horrible thing. Shall the snow of Lebanon fail from the rock of the field? Or shall the cold waters that flow down from afar be dried up? For my people have forgotten me. They have burned incense to false gods, and they have been made to stumble in their ways, in the ancient paths, to walk in byways, in a way not built up, to make their land an astonishment and a perpetual hissing. Every one who passes by shall be astonished and shake his head. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I will show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity. Then they said, Come, and let us devise devices against Jeremiah. For the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor word from the prophet. Come, and let us strike him with the tongue, and let us not give heed to any of his words. Give heed to me, O Lord, and listen to the voice of those who contend with me. Shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have dug a pit for my soul. Remember how I stood before you to speak good for them, to turn away your wrath from them. Therefore deliver up their children to the famine, and give them over to the power of the sword, and let their wives become childless and widows, and let their men be slain of death, and their young men struck with the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses, when you shall bring a troop on them suddenly, for they have dug a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet. Yet, O Lord, you know all their counsel against me to kill me. Don't forgive their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from your sight, but let them be overthrown before you. Deal with them in the time of your anger. Chapter 19. Thus says the Lord, Go and buy a potter's earthen bottle, and take of the elders of the people and of the elders of the priest, and go forth to the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is by the entry of the gate Harseth, and proclaim there the words that I shall tell you, and say, Hear you the word of the Lord, kings of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Thus says the Lord of armies, the God of Israel. Behold, I will bring evil on this place, which whoever hears, his ears shall tingle. Because they have forsaken me, and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it to other gods that they didn't know, they and their fathers, and the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents, and have built the high places of Baal, to burn their sons in the fire for burnt offerings to Baal, which I didn't command, nor spoke it, neither came it into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that this place shall no more be called Topheth, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. I will make void the counsel of Judah and Jerusalem in this place, and I will cause them to fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hand of those who seek their life. And their dead bodies I will give to be food for the birds of the sky, and for the animals of the earth. I will make this city an astonishment and a hissing. Everyone who passes by shall be astonished, and hiss because of all the plagues of it. I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend, in the siege and in the distress with which their enemies and those who seek their life shall distress them. Then shall you break the bottle in the sight of the men who go with you, and shall tell them, Thus says the Lord of armies, Even so I will break this people in this city, as one breaks a potter's vessel, that can't be made whole again, and they shall bury in Topheth, until there be no place to bury. Thus I will do to this place, says the Lord, and to the inhabitants of it, even making this city as Topheth, and the houses of Jerusalem, and the houses of the kings of Judah which are defiled, shall be as the place of Topheth, even all the houses on whose roofs they have burned incense to all the host of the sky, and have poured out drink offerings to other gods. Then came Jeremiah from Topheth, where the Lord had sent him to prophesy, and he stood in the court of the Lord's house, and said to all the people, Thus says the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring on this city and on all its towns all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have made their neck stiff, that they may not hear my words. Chapter 20. Now Pashur, the son of Immer the priest, who was chief officer in the house of the Lord, heard Jeremiah prophesying these things. Then Pashur struck Jeremiah the prophet, and put him in the stocks that were in the upper gate of Benjamin, which was in the house of the Lord. It happened on the next day that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. Then Jeremiah said to him, The Lord has not called your name Pashur, but Magor-Mishabib. For thus says the Lord, Behold, I will make you a terror to yourself and to all your friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, and your eyes shall see it. And I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall carry them captive to Babylon, and will kill them with the sword. Moreover, I will give all the riches of this city, and all the gains of it, and all the precious things of it, yes, all the treasures of the kings of Judah, I will give into the hand of their enemies, and they shall make them a prey, and take them, and carry them to Babylon. You, Pashur, and all who dwell in your house shall go into captivity, and you shall come to Babylon, and there you shall die, and there shall you be buried, you and all your friends, to whom you have prophesied falsely. O Lord, you have persuaded me, and I was persuaded. You are stronger than I, and have prevailed. I am become a laughingstock all the day. Every one mocks me. For as often as I speak, I cry out. I cry, violence and destruction. Because the word of the Lord is made a reproach to me, and a derision all the day. If I say, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name, then there is in my heart as it were a burning fire shut up in my bones, and I am weary with forbearing, and I can't contain. For I have heard the defaming of many, terror on every side. Denounce, and we will denounce him, say all my familiar friends, those who watch for my fall. Perhaps he will be persuaded, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take our revenge on him. But the Lord is with me as an awesome mighty one. Therefore my persecutors shall stumble, and they shall not prevail. They shall be utterly disappointed, because they have not dealt wisely, even with an everlasting dishonor, which shall never be forgotten. But, O Lord of hosts, who test the righteous, who sees the heart and the mind, let me see your vengeance on them, for to you have I revealed my cause. Sing to the Lord, praise the Lord, for he has delivered the soul of the needy from the hand of evildoers. Cursed be the day in which I was born. Don't let the day in which my mother bore me be blessed. Cursed be the man who brought news to my father, saying, A man-child is born to you, making him very glad. Let that man be as the cities which the Lord overthrew, and didn't repent. And let him hear a cry in the morning, and shouting at noontime, because he didn't kill me from the womb. And so my mother would have been my grave, and her womb always great. Why did I come forth out of the womb to see labor and sorrow, that my day should be consumed with shame? Chapter 21. The word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, when King Zedekiah sent to him Pashur the son of Malchijah, and Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah the priest, saying, Please inquire of the Lord for us, for Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, makes war against us. Perhaps the Lord will deal with us according to all his wondrous works, that he may go up from us. Then Jeremiah said to them, Thus shall you tell Zedekiah. Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Behold, I will turn back the weapons of war that are in your hands, with which you fight against the king of Babylon, and against the Chaldeans who besiege you, without the walls, and I will gather them into the midst of this city. I myself will fight against you with an outstretched hand, and with a strong arm, even in anger and in wrath and in great indignation. I will strike the inhabitants of this city, both man and animal. They shall die of a great pestilence. Afterward, says the Lord, I will deliver Zedekiah king of Judah, and his servants, and the people, even such as are left in this city from the pestilence, from the sword, and from the famine, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of those who seek their life, and he shall strike them with the edge of the sword. He shall not spare them, neither have pity, nor have mercy. To this people you shall say, Thus says the Lord, Behold, I set before you the way of life, and the way of death. He who remains in this city shall die by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence. But he who goes out, and passes over to the Chaldeans who besiege you, he shall live, and his life shall be given to him for a prey. For I have set my face on this city for evil, and not for good, says the Lord. It shall be given into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall burn it with fire. Touching the house of the king of Judah, hear the word of the Lord. House of David, thus says the Lord, Execute justice in the morning, and deliver him who is robbed out of the hand of the oppressor, lest my wrath go forth like fire, and burn so that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings. Behold, I am against you, O inhabitant of the valley, and of the rock of the plain, says the Lord, you all that say, Who shall come down against us? And who shall enter into our habitations? I will punish you according to the fruit of your doings, says the Lord, and I will kindle a fire in her forest, and it shall devour all that is round about her. Chapter 22. Thus said the Lord, Go down to the house of the king of Judah, and speak there this word. Say, Hear the word of the Lord, king of Judah, who sits on the throne of David, you and your servants and your people who enter in by these gates. Thus says the Lord, Execute justice and righteousness, and deliver him who is robbed out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong. Do no violence to the foreigner, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. For if you do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting on the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people. But if you will not hear these words, I swear by myself, says the Lord, that this house shall become a desolation. For thus says the Lord concerning the house of the king of Judah, You are Gilead to me, and the head of Lebanon. Yet surely I will make you a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited. I will prepare destroyers against you, every one with his weapons, and they shall cut down your choice cedars, and cast them into the fire. Many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say every man to his neighbor, Why has the Lord done this to this great city? Then they shall answer, Because they forsook the covenant of the Lord their God, and worshipped other gods, and served them. Don't you weep for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him who goes away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native country. For thus says the Lord touching Shallum the son of Josiah, king of Judah, who reigned instead of Josiah his father, and who went forth out of this place, He shall not return there any more. But in the place where they have led him captive, there shall he die, and he shall see this land no more. Woe to him who builds his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by injustice, who uses his neighbor's service without wages, and doesn't give him his hire, who says, I will build me a wide house, and spacious chambers, and cuts out windows, and makes ceilings with cedar, painted with vermilion. Shall you reign, because you strive to excel in cedar? Didn't your father eat and drink, and do justice and righteousness? Then it was well with him. He judged the cause of the poor and needy, then it was well. Wasn't this to know me, says the Lord? But your eyes and your heart are not but for your covetousness, and for shedding innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. Therefore thus says the Lord concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, my brother, or Ah, sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, Lord, or Ah, his glory. He shall be buried with the burial of a donkey, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. Go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up your voice in Bashan, and cry from Abarim, for all your lovers are destroyed. I spoke to you in your prosperity, but you said, I will not hear. This has been your manner from your youth, that you didn't obey my voice. The wind shall feed all your shepherds, and your lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then shall you be ashamed and confounded for all your wickedness. Inhabitant of Lebanon, who makes your nest in the cedars, how greatly to be pitied shall you be when your pangs come on you, the pain as of a woman in travail. As I live, says the Lord, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet on my right hand, yet would I pluck you up there, and I will give you into the hand of those who seek your life, and into the hand of them of whom you are afraid, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of the Chaldeans. I will cast you out, and your mother who bore you, into another country, where you were not born, and there you shall die. But to the land whereunto their soul longs to return, there shall they not return. Is this man Coniah a despised broken vessel? Is he a vessel in which none delights? Why are they cast out, he and his seed, and are cast into the land which they don't know? O earth, earth, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, Write you this man childless, a man who shall not prosper in his days, for no more shall a man of his seed prosper, sitting on the throne of David, and ruling in Judah. Chapter 23. Woe to the shepherds who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says the Lord. Therefore thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, against the shepherds who feed my people. You have scattered my flock, and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit on you the evil of your doing, says the Lord. I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries where I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and multiply. I will set up shepherds over them who shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall any be lacking, says the Lord. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will raise to David a righteous branch, and he shall reign as king, and deal wisely, and shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name by which he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that they shall no more say, As the Lord lives, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but, As the Lord lives, who brought up and who led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries where I had driven them. They shall dwell in their own land. Concerning the prophets, my heart within me is broken. All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine has overcome, because of the Lord, and because of his holy words. For the land is full of adulterers. For because of swearing the land mourns. The pastures of the wilderness are dried up. Their course is evil, and their might is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yes, in my house I have found their wickedness, says the Lord. Therefore their way shall be to them as slippery places in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein. For I will bring evil on them, even the year of their visitation, says the Lord. I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied by Baal, and caused my people Israel to err. In the prophets of Jerusalem also I have seen a horrible thing. They commit adultery, and walk in lies, and they strengthen the hand of evildoers, so that none does return from his wickedness. They are all of them become to me as Sodom, and the inhabitants of it as Gomorrah. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets, Behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them drink the water of gall. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is ungodliness gone forth into all the land. Thus says the Lord of armies, Don't listen to the words of the prophets who prophesy to you. They teach you vanity. They speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of the Lord. They say continually to those who despise me, The Lord has said, You shall have peace. And to everyone who walks in the stubbornness of his own heart they say, No evil shall come on you. For who has stood in the counsel of the Lord, that he should perceive and hear his word? Who has marked my word and heard it? Behold, the tempest of the Lord, even his wrath is gone forth. Yes, a whirling tempest, it shall burst on the head of the wicked. The anger of the Lord shall not return, until he has executed, and until he has performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days you shall understand it perfectly. I sent not these prophets, yet they ran. I didn't speak to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, then had they caused my people to hear my words, and would have turned them from their evil way, and from the evil of their doings. Am I a God at hand, says the Lord, and not a God far off? Can any hide himself in secret places, so that I cannot see him, says the Lord? Don't I fill heaven and earth, says the Lord? I have heard what the prophets have said, who prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets who prophesy lies, even the prophets of the deceit of their own heart, who think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers forgot my name for Baal? The prophet who has a dream, let him tell a dream. And he who has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the straw to the wheat, says the Lord? Isn't my word like fire, says the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, who steal my words, every one from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, who use their tongues and say, He says. Behold, I am against those who prophesy lying dreams, says the Lord, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies, and by their vain boasting. Yet I didn't send them, nor commanded them, neither do they profit this people at all, says the Lord. When this people, or the prophet, or a priest shall ask you, saying, What is the burden of the Lord? Then you shall tell them, What burden? I will cast you off, says the Lord. As for the prophet and the priest and the people who shall say, The burden of the Lord, I will even punish that man and his house. Thus shall you say every one to his neighbor, and every one to his brother, What has the Lord answered, and what has the Lord spoken? The burden of the Lord shall you mention no more, for every man's own word shall be his burden. For you have perverted the words of the living God, even of the Lord of hosts. Thus shall you say to the prophet, What has the Lord answered you, and what has the Lord spoken? But if you say, The burden of the Lord, therefore thus says the Lord, Because you say this word, the burden of the Lord, and I have sent to you, saying, You shall not say the burden of the Lord, therefore, behold, I will utterly forget you, and I will cast you off, and the city that I gave to you and to your fathers away from my presence. And I will bring an everlasting reproach on you, and a perpetual shame, which shall not be forgotten. Chapter 24. The Lord showed me 2 baskets of figs set before the temple of the Lord, after that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had carried away captive Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah, with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. 1 basket had very good figs, like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very bad figs, which could not be eaten, they were so bad. Then the Lord said to me, What do you see, Jeremiah? I said, Figs, the good figs very good, and the bad very bad, that can't be eaten, they are so bad. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Like these good figs, so I will regard the captives of Judah, whom I have sent out of this place into the land of the Chaldeans for good. For I will set my eyes on them for good, and I will bring them again to this land, and I will build them, and not pull them down, and I will plant them, and not pluck them up. I will give them a heart to know me, that I am the Lord, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God, for they shall return to me with their whole heart. As the bad figs, which can't be eaten, they are so bad. Surely thus says the Lord. So I will give up Zedekiah the king of Judah and his princes, and the residue of Jerusalem who remain in this land, and those who dwell in the land of Egypt. I will even give them up to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth for evil, to be a reproach and a proverb, a taunt and a curse, in all places where I shall drive them. I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence among them, until they be consumed from off the land that I gave to them and to their fathers. Chapter 25. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah. In the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, the same was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, which Jeremiah the prophet spoke to all the people of Judah, and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, From the 13th year of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah, even to this day, these 23 years, the word of the Lord has come to me, and I have spoken to you, rising up early and speaking, but you have not listened. The Lord has sent to you all his servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but you have not listened nor inclined your ear to hear, saying, Return, every one from his evil way, and from the evil of his doings, and dwell in the land that the Lord has given you and to your fathers from of old, and even forevermore. And don't go after other gods to serve them or worship them, and don't provoke me to anger with the work of your hands, and I will do you no harm. Yet you have not listened to me, says the Lord, that you may provoke me to anger with the work of your hands to your own hurt. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, because you have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, says the Lord, and I will send to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against the land, and against the inhabitants of it, and against all these nations round about, and I will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment, and a hissing, and a perpetual desolation. Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the lamp. This whole land shall be a desolation, and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. It shall happen, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, says the Lord, for their iniquity, and the land of the Chaldeans, and I will make it desolate forever. I will bring on that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah has prophesied against all the nations. For many nations and great kings shall he make bondservants, and I will recompense them according to their deeds, and according to the work of their hands. For thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, to me, take this cup of the wine of wrath at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send you to drink it. They shall drink, and reel back and forth, and be mad, because of the sword that I will send among them. Then I took the cup at the Lord's hand, and made all the nations to drink, to whom the Lord had sent me, to Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, and the kings of it, and the princes of it, to make them a desolation, an astonishment, a hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people, and all the mixed people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the Philistines, and Ashkelon, and Gaza, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all the kings of Tyre, and all the kings of Sidon, and the kings of the isles which is beyond the sea, Dedan, and Tema, and Buz, and all who have the corners of their hair cut off, and all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mixed people who dwell in the wilderness, and all the kings of Zimri, and all the kings of Elam, and all the kings of the Medes, and all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, which are on the surface of the earth, and the kingdom of Sheshach shall drink after them. You shall tell them, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, drink and be drunken, and spew and fall and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. It shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at your hand to drink, then you shall tell them, thus says the Lord of hosts, you shall surely drink. For behold, I begin to work evil at the city which is called by my name, and should you be utterly unpunished? You shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword on all the inhabitants of the earth, says the Lord of hosts. Therefore prophesy against them all these words, and tell them, the Lord will roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He will mightily roar against his fold. He will give a shout, as those who tread the grapes, against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come even to the end of the earth, for the Lord has a controversy with the nations. He will enter into judgment with all flesh. As for the wicked, he will give them to the sword, says the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great tempest shall be raised up from the uttermost parts of the earth. The slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung on the surface of the ground. Wail, you shepherds, and cry, and wallow in ashes, you principal of the flock. For the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are fully come, and you shall fall like a good vessel. The shepherds shall have no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. A voice of the cry of the shepherds, and the wailing of the principal of the flock, for the Lord lays waste their pasture. The peaceable folds are brought to silence because of the fierce anger of the Lord. He has left his covert as the lion, for their land has become an astonishment because of the fierceness of the oppressing sword, and because of his fierce anger.